Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Tori. I have no idea who this is, but I can only assume that this is Akari's closest friend that may have been referenced. Maybe. I don't know. We're still trying to recruit people for the play that Mary is still writing the script for. And the last episode, we gave her some lovely constructive criticism and also constructively criticized her acting skills. Of course, she's not going to have these things, but these are good things to do, you know, to work on, especially since we're going in this direction. I have no idea who this is. I'm already struggling with names here, so let's move on here and see if we can learn a little bit more about this new side character that has been introduced to us. The academy will be practically empty, so we need to do some publicity work at least. Risa had advised us as such, so I asked everyone to tell the people they're close to about the play. Since we don't have any marketing materials, we're limited to word of mouth for now. Mikako's helping out too apparently, so I have a good feeling that this will work. She might not have any close friends, but she's well known, and her ability to talk to literally anyone without reserve will come in handy especially. Probably really small, but hopefully those that are here will be interested. I don't know, we probably won't have a clue until the day itself. I can't even picture it myself. Given when we're putting on the play, it'd be wise not to get our hopes up. That's just how it is though. We can only put on the play after everyone goes home for the holidays. There's too much practice and prep work to even think about bringing the performance day forward. Like honestly, let's think about this here. We're really close already on Christmas time, I'm pretty sure. So we kind of have to like just work with what we've got going on. Are you nervous? And Mary looks somewhat worried. Oh, of course. No, that makes perfect sense. You obviously want the best turnout for something like this. Mary forces a smile as she sighs. Again, completely understandable. 100%. Mary hugs herself and shivers as she imagines the possibility. Mary clasps her tiny hands together to emphasize her point. I know how you feel, but only God knows how this will go. We say ironically because we don't really believe, but we're limited in what we can do to help. There's not much other than believing people will come and preparing to give them the best show possible. Mary, you said that there are no major problems remaining with the script. She wanted to make some final touches before we settled on it for good. Yeah, there's no going back, unless like there's like a teeny tiny like tweak or something. But we do have to like start finalizing. Again, we have a pretty serious time limit here. Great. What does everyone else think? Okay, I guess everybody's here. I look at everyone in turn, and they look back, nodding in approval with what Sayo said. No complaints, it looks like. We should probably start practicing today then. Everyone shakes their head. Mary bows deeply in gratitude to everyone. Oh, we're making some progress here. Okay, so I forgot to mention, if you guys did not hear the news about Tori, the title will actually be arriving to Steam. I'll probably bring this up a few more times to get the point across that there will be some content getting cut here shortly in this playthrough, now that we're on to the routes. So, just a heads up, if you guys want to see what's going on in the story, you know, pick up the game yourself, experience how these routes actually, you know, end up. You know, be in the same suspense that I'm currently in as we continue along here. But yeah, definitely check it out whenever it releases on Steam. There will be a patch, of course, I'm sure, as you guys can imagine. Good work to Nekonyan, goddamn, for getting the title onto Steam. Apparently, it wasn't banned. It wasn't a situation like what Chaos Head Noah had to go through. It was just rejected, which is interesting. So they had a chance for review to, work on it, and there we go. So cool to see. Happy that the title will be on Steam and more people can check this out. So again, pick it up on Steam if that's your preferred platform. And just remember, the last 2 hours of all routes, all the way to the very end of each route, whenever we get back to the main menu, is completely cut. And so once again, everyone gathers in the lounge after class. And just as a reminder, I will continue to bring this up. This isn't I'm deciding to do this sort of thing. No, I have to do this if I want this playthrough to be up on YouTube. Otherwise, Purple Software has the complete right, more so than they currently do, to just completely get rid of this playthrough. So if you see anybody else with a playthrough of Tori or other Purple Software titles that are being done right now, I guess any playthrough going on March 2023 forward, feel free to let them know that they're risking the life of their channel. Just be a little bit of a helping hand. All of us, myself included, have a copy of the script in our hands. We've all read through it once, enough to know the general plot, but of course not enough for us to have memorized our lines. We have to do a sit-down read-through. I saw that with not Breaking Bad, it was Better Call Saul. That shit was beautiful. The actors there, they're insanely good. Sayo turns her attention to Mary, who looks pensive. If you guys have not watched Breaking Bad or any of that, please do. It's so good. Risa smiles and offers a lifeline to Mary. I was gonna say, she's probably, done a little bit of the arts of some sort in the past. Risa blushes and smiles. I still don't have full confirmation on her voice actor yet, though. I should probably look into that over on VNDB or something. She's really into this stuff, which explains why she's so knowledgeable. Looks like she's not just going to be an advisor in name only. Makes sense. Yeah, I agree. It's literally what I said. The script's been worked on since we last saw it, so it's wise to go over it again. I low-key just took a big-ass gulp of water just now, so much so that I almost choked. It's hard to drink and read at the same time. Or maybe that's a personal issue. Mary's eyes open slightly wider in realization as she nods. There's a level of efficiency when it comes to stuff like this, I'm pretty sure. I think it's fine as it is. I'm pretty sure having multiple characters moving in and out of the same scene would just make it harder for the audience to understand. Sayo flips through the script while exaggerating a frown. You got this. Akari looks like she could use a little more self-confidence. Wait, why am I acting like this is none of my business? I have a whole load of lines to learn myself. I show up the most in the whole play, second only to Mary. No, you're good. This is not a you problem, this is an everybody problem.
寸劇というわけではないのだから、それ相応の尺も必要だと思うな。
I think the longest thing I've ever had to memorize is like a whole ass poem and present it in front of a class. But obviously this is a whole lot different because you have to be moving around and doing certain actions with your memorized, lines and shit. And also you have to say your lines in specific ways, and there's a whole lot more to it. Acting is a whole nother level, especially acting in front of a live audience. I could never relate. I never want to relate. Mary looked like she was about to snatch the scripts out of our hands and run off to her room to change her. And run off to her room to change her. What the fuck does. Until Risa brought her to a halt. Changed the script? Did I miss something there? Was I too focused on complaining about my own shit? Akari and Mary looked wide-eyed at Risa in surprise. Sayo also looks taken aback, but not to the same extent. For that matter, I am too. You're saying we're not meant to memorize the script? The thing is, I don't think you can, like, to a 100% degree. You'll always, forget some things. But if you know how your character is, the general idea of how your character is supposed to be, an idea of what they're supposed to say, react, and all that, if you don't remember your lines completely, you can kind of, change a little bit of things there to make everything work out. Akari repeats quietly, trying to grasp the meaning of the words. Risa flips the pages of her script. Yeah, it's just one take, You're right. Everyone nods.
大切なのは台本通りの正確なセリフを喋ることじゃなくて、このキャラクターが口にしても違和感がないと観客が思えるセリフを喋ることなの。観客は台本に何て書かれているかは知らないんだから。
I see. Now I get what Risa's saying. It's like with math. You don't memorize the answers, but the formulas that lead you there.
そうそう。それができれば何か不測の事態があったとしても対処しやすいでしょ。じゃあその違和感さえなければ適当にアドリブとか入れても構わないわけ？
Sayo glances over at Mary.
私はもともとそのつもりだよ。やってみてこの方がいいなって思ったらどんどん変更しようって思ってたから。
Honestly, this is a reason why I really like, characters in visual novels. For the ones that I obviously do my Let's Plays on, commentate on, when there's a protagonist that we follow that doesn't have a voice actor, it's so much fun to read their lines aloud. It gets me a better understanding of their character. I can get a better understanding for them, more so than a character that has their lines voiced for them, because I get more of an opportunity of sort of, reading their lines, kind of getting a little bit of their tone figured out.
アドリブとかむしろ大歓迎。
Obviously a totally different situation here, but they have to figure their characters out. They will read their lines and figure out their actions. I'm not too far off. I'm just not standing in front of a whole bunch of people and trying to act all this out. I'm just reading the lines, and just learning about a character and what crazy shit he's got going on. Mary's eyes glisten, hands clutched in front of her chest like she's praying to Sayo, her would-be savior. And that's why she's the best. We stand Mary. Akari mutters in admiration. Mary cocks her head to the side.
私の勝手なイメージだと、こういうものを書く人ってもっと自分の作品にうるさいものかと思っていました。自分の台本は完璧だ。改変するなんて絶対に許さないみたいな。
Mary smiles wryly, waving a hand in front of her face in embarrassment.
私なんか本当にただの素人だし、とてもそんな自信満々にはなれないよ。みんなの力を借りて、ちょっとでも面白いものになったらいいなって気持ち。
First, though, we'll need to do a run-through of the script as it is.
そうね。私もそれがいいと思う。じゃ、早速始めましょうか。はい。よろしくお願いします。
I feel like this is all going to be skipped over, but I think that's also a really good way of figuring out where the strengths and weaknesses are, get a little bit more criticism in there. Everybody can figure out their characters, suggest what they need to suggest, you know, just stuff like that. And so we start our table read, each of us reading out our own character's lines. I read mine too, of course, and it's pretty tough. Ultimately, I've learned it's not as simple as just reading the words off the page. You have to match your timing to the overall pacing, control your breathing, and perform as your character. It requires your full concentration, otherwise you're going to slip up. You might even come across as stiff and awkward, like Mary did the other day. Having said that though, we're all novices, so it's nothing to get too stressed about. The main problem right now is... What's wrong? Mary's been groaning with her head in her hands for a while now, scarlet from cheek to cheek. She's not a fan of us reading the script, is she? The rest of the cast have gone off into separate rooms in the residence to do some individual practice, as we agreed earlier. That's left Mary and I alone together, excuse me. You don't need to get so down about it. I comfort Mary with a pat on the shoulder. Yeah, okay, what happened? Mary raises her face and looks at me through teary eyes. Yeah, okay. I was right on the money there. Her hands snap back into position as she curls up again. You've probably guessed by now, but the one who struggled the most during our table read was the lead role herself, Mary. Even though, as the author of the script, she should understand the characters better than anyone else. Perhaps the constant barrage of sickly sweet romance lines was just too much for her, as she kept fumbling over her lines or speaking too quietly to be audible.
ねえ、リツ君はどうしてよどみなくセリフを言えるの?
Mary peeks out at me through the cracks in her fingers.
あんな歯が浮きまくるような超くっさいセリフなのに。
I could never do romance.
恥ずかしいとか思わ
I
ないの?
love reading romance, I love watching romance. I can never, act out a romantic story. I probably can't act out shit, but out of something I'd be willing to give a shot for, it's definitely not romance. I can't believe she said that. She wrote the thing. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't embarrassed at all, but you know, they're just lines in a play. It's actually a pretty cool experience pretending to be someone I'm not. I think Sayo and Akari both got into it the same way I did. Of course, they stumbled and made mistakes in parts, but overall I could tell that they were enjoying it. That's actually the important part. Everybody's got to have fun here.
すっぱり綺麗にはなかなか割り切れないんだよ。何せ自分が書いたものだから。
Hey, we said that. She looks up at the ceiling, fist clenched. Just because you wrote it doesn't mean the main character is you.
それはもちろんそうだよ。私、あんなに大胆な女の子じゃないもん。
Mary gives a little nod and then looks at me.
なんかね、こういざお芝居しようとすると、違うの、これ私自身じゃないの。って面白いと思ってもらえるんじゃないかと考えて書いただけで、自分の妄想をそのままさらけ出してるわけじゃないんだよ。誤解しないで。
Did I actually just skip a line? I can't tell. Oh, fuck. Well, I just skipped multiple lines there. God damn it. I have no idea if I skipped a line anymore now. But yes, we get it. That's tough. I can see her worries stem from being the author of the play. Now I'm stumped. We can't change the cast this late in the game. My impression from the table read was that Sayo and Akari were both perfectly suited for their roles, which will be interesting when we get into the other routes. Our only option is to get Mary over this so she can act her part. Only, I'm sure Mary knows this, and that's probably causing her extra stress.
どうしたらいいのかな、こういうの。
I think all you really can do is keep practicing until you get used to it.
だよね。
That's really all it is. I mean, look at me whenever I started commentating. I was fucking stupid. I was awkward. I still am, but at least I have more confidence, and I think that's actually the big thing. is that when you start to do something totally new, you're going to be lacking in confidence. You're totally new to the role. You're totally new to whatever it is you're doing. You know, playing a new game, you know, or hanging out with a whole new group of people. You know, if you're an introvert like my ass, but you know, you get used to it. You find your rhythm, you build that confidence up, and you feel a whole lot better at whatever it is that you're doing that's new. Mary breathes a little sigh and gives me a feeble nod. I'll be helping you out. We can do this, Mary. Honestly, if I had to go out there right now and perform in front of people, the nerves would probably get the better of me too. Although I think I'd be able to get over it. I mean, I've had sex with countless girls. God damn it. I've had sex with countless girls, and I don't even know their names. For real. What's more, I've been watched doing it when they come in groups, which happened at the very beginning. Compared to that, acting doesn't seem like much of a mental strain. Of course, Mary is different.
ありがとうリツくん。今さらもうやめられないんだし、私が自分で何とかするしかないんだよね。
There's no point in overthinking it. Try to take it easy. At the end of the day, this is a bit of entertainment for Christmas. Of course, the more seriously we take it, the better the end performance will be. Mary nods at me, finally smiling naturally. We've got this. Mary's got this. It's all gonna be fine. It'll all be good. The two of us continue to practice reading the script from the script, with Mary getting slightly more comfortable as we go. The words are flowing more freely as we read them, though we're still far from being able to include a realistic degree of emotion in them. And that was good. You're improving fast, Mary.
ありがとう。リツくんがうまく引っ張ってくれるおかげだよ。
Tell me if we're moving too fast, but how would you feel about doing an actual rehearsal? As obvious as it is, performing a play isn't just about reading your lines. It's about your movements, your gestures, and expressions as well. Those are much harder to practice without anyone watching you. There's often a large discrepancy between how you picture yourself mentally and what you're actually performing. You can practice in front of a mirror, or record yourself and watch it back to alleviate this issue. But since everyone's all together, the best way would be to have them watch and offer their opinions. I could summon them and have them back here in less than a minute. Mary nods just before her eyes are drawn to the entrance.
どうですか、メアリー先輩。
Pretty alright. Why are you guys just constantly grouped together here?
少しは進歩があった？リツくんも。
The three others are walking towards us, and that saves me from calling them. Decent, I would say. How about you?
順調よ。自分の出番は一通りおさらいできました。
Sayo and Akari nod confidently. They have a lot less to go over than Mary does, though.
どうする？立ち稽古も少しくらいやってみる？
I was actually just talking to Mary about that. It's just that we don't have enough time to do a full run-through today. We've already spent quite a lot of time here. Doing a full rehearsal would take us past sundown easily. I don't want to keep everyone here that late.
どれか一つシーンを選んでやってみる？台本の区切りもはっきりしているし、妥当なところじゃないかしら。どのシーンにします？やっぱり最初の出会いのところ？
I would say a scene somewhere in the middle, or maybe near the end, would probably be really good, because in the beginning, you're always going to be starting from the beginning. You're going to get that down fast.
多分それが無難。せっかくなんだから、もっと攻めましょうよ。
I have a bad feeling all of a sudden. I think I actually kind of screwed the pooch on this one too. My suggestion's not going to work for the confidence with Mary here. Sayo butts into the conversation, a huge grin on her face.
攻めるって？いきなりクライマックスっていうのも面白そうじゃない？クライマックスって。
Sayo's smile grows, everyone's attention shifting to her as she flips through the script.
もちろんここでしょ？礼拝堂での別れ。
The page Sayo's pointing out is basically the last. It's the scene where the girl, played by Mary, and the vampire boy, played by me, decide to go their separate ways. It's the most dramatic scene in the entire play, well worthy of being called the climax, and how well received the play is overall will no doubt depend on how well we pull it off. It's the most important scene. Excuse me, so Sayo's suggestion is to start with it. While challenging is understandable, Only there's a problem.
でもここって
It's the kiss scene, isn't it? I mean, it is romance, right? Like, of course, there's gotta be a kiss scene. Akari struggles to speak as she looks down at her own script.
キスシーンあるね。
Risa says bluntly. Mary and I find ourselves looking at each other in silence. I mean, you don't actually have to kiss right now, right? Right? That's right, Mary set up the last scene to have what every good romance story needs, a kiss. It fits with the way the story progresses, in my opinion. Although, we won't be kissing for real. It'll all be pretend.
いいでしょ。
What does that mean?
セリフだって少
What does
な
that
いし。
mean, buddy? A kiss is a kiss. Sayo's right, the final run of scenes don't have much speech in them, which means that our acting has to be even better to make up for it.
ここをしっかりできれば他のシーンだって楽勝じゃない。演技の自信をつけるには最適だと思うけど。
Shit, that is what I was arguing earlier. It's all about confidence. While what she's saying is sound, one look at Sayo's face tells me that she's only doing it to have fun. Okay then, sound good to you, Mary?
頑張ってやってみる。
I glance over at her to see Mary's expression is as stern gets. This has gotten her really worked up. I hope it turns out okay.
じゃあ礼拝堂へ移動しましょう。
This can only go swimmingly, right, gamers? Risa takes up a position in the center of the chapel as she goes over where we'll be starting from.
こちら側が客席として、メアリーさんは上手に。
She points slightly off from where she's standing. Mary plods on over, script in hand.
この辺りでいいでしょうか。もう少し先に。そう、その辺りで止まって。はい。それから、メアリーさんが一人で祈りを捧げているところに。
Okay. Now it's my turn to follow instructions and move to the edge of the stage.
じゃあ、私がドアが開く音の代わりに、パンって手を叩くから、それを合図にシーン開始ね。わかりました。でも、ちょっと待ってください。
What's up, Akari? Akari suddenly pipes up, raising a hand. What is it?
今ちょっと思ったんですけど、これ横で見せない方がいいんじ
A
ゃな
flat
いでしょう
perspective?
か。
Wait, what do you mean?
どういうこと？
Mary looks blankly at Akari. I don't fully understand what she's, or where she's going with this either.
会場全体を使って見せると、リツ先輩の登場が盛り上がるんじゃないかなって。つまり、
Akari gestures to the center of the stage.
メアリー先輩はあそこで背を向ける形で祈りを捧げている。
Oh.
そして、
We'll run up the aisle. Akari spins around to look behind her right at the main door to the chapel.
あそこからリツ先輩が入ってきて、メアリー先輩のとこ
Honestly?
ろまで歩み
Yeah.
寄るというのはどうでしょう。
I've seen that shit
多
before.
分お客さんもまさか背後から役者が現れるとは思ってい
Where
な
you
い
have
でしょ
characters
うか。
running off stage or running onto the stage and shit.
盛り上がるか
And
な
they use the aisles and everything, and then they'll just like circle back to the backstage.
面白いわねそれ。いいじゃない。
We'll be using the aisle through the seats as a walkway. Now I understand what she means by a flat perspective. This way we add depth, bringing our performance into the third dimension.
はい、そういうことです。
Honestly, pretty fucking smart. Akari nods, blushing in embarrassment.
なるほど。あかりちゃんすごい。いいアイデアだね。ただそうなると照明の当て方にも少し工夫がいるかも。
Yeah, we will need like the
そうで
attention
すよ
to
ね。
focus fully on
出てく
Ritsu.
る時に
He can't just be in the
移動を
dark.
描かないと。もしくはあらかじめ天井か足元に花道を照らすライトを仕込ん
Simulate
で
a
おい
bit
て
of like a spotlight
その
wherever
瞬間
he
に
goes, the
さ
lights
ーっ
go.
と点灯させるとかね。それすごくかっこいい気がします。でも律の移動は間に合うの？一度会場の外に出て回り込む必要があるでしょ。この直線のシーンも結構ギリギリまで前にいることになっているけど。
Sayo points out an evident flaw. True, guess I'll have to sprint over while the curtain's down. And in secret, so as not to spoil the surprise.
それっぽい音楽を流して主人公の心情ナレーションを入れるのはどう？そこから ひざまずいて祈るメアリーさんにスポットをゆっくり当てる形にすれば1分くらいは尺を稼げるでしょ。
ああ、どんどん演出アイデアが。それいいですね。やりましょう。
And this is actually why it pays to do these practice sessions, you know? Because you can figure things out that you just couldn't if you were just reading off the script, or if you were just writing the script in general. Getting everybody's opinions can actually flesh out a story a whole lot more than just writing it down on paper and having people read off of it.
というか、
It works out
他
a
の
whole
場
lot
所
better
に
in
もナ
my
レー
opinion.
ション入れた方がもっと分かりやすくなる気がしてきました。今夜にでもまた開口というか書き足そうと思います。
Sounds good to me.
やりすぎるとテンポが悪くなると思うからほどほどにね。
でもそうなるとナレーション役も必要になってくるんじゃない？
まあそれは提案した以上
Yeah, she's not a character in the
私が担
story,
当しましょう。
so
ありがとうございます。
Mary beams, her eyes shining with happiness.
なんだかすっごく素敵な劇に仕上がりそうな気がしてきた。
そうね。でも全ては2人の演技次第よ。
Risa smiles kindly as she looks equally at me and Mary.
それじゃあ時間がもったいないし自分の位置にスタンバイして。
Oh, here we go. This can only work out well. And only well. Risa gives the signal. I do as Akari proposed, walking up the aisle to where Mary kneels in prayer. So this is where you were. Mary slowly stands up and turns to face me. Have you reached a decision? I recite the lines from the script.
ええ、
A small pause, then Mary nods.
やっぱり私あなたと一緒には行けない。
May I ask why? I grab hold of Mary's wrists and pull her toward me, staring into her eyes from up close.
どうしても。
Mary returns my gaze as she shakes her head.
私は私の大切な人たちと別れることはできないの。ごめんなさい。
We stare at each other for a few more seconds. This is it. The moment I pull her into an embrace. I see. It doesn't matter how much I tell myself that this is a play and that this is all an act. The thought of what I'm about to do, amid all these onlookers, has me getting embarrassed. You know, again, despite all the crazy shit that he did in the very beginning, but only now do I realize this is a tougher emotional hill to climb over than it is when girls come to me for sex. I can hardly just stand here and stare at her, though. Can I now? I muster up my courage, wrap my arms around Mary, and hold her close. The tips of her sweet-smelling soft hair tickles my cheek. Ah, this is a smell for sore noses.
ごめんなさい。
I thought this embrace might make Mary panic in embarrassment, but she's as calm can be. Do not apologize. This is your decision and I respect it. However, I loosen my grip on Mary so I can stare back into her eyes. We're so close our cheeks are mere millimeters from being stuck together. Yet Mary still shows no signs of wavering. God damn, bro. We're bringing out the crazy shit right now. May I ask for one last selfish request?
お願い。
Hold on. Yeah, this is probably the thumbnail material right here. This is a nice CG. I like this. I would ask for a farewell gift.
いいよ。私にできることなら何でも言って。
Thank you. Then I ask for a kiss. Mary gulps, her eyes opening ever so slightly wider. I take your silence to mean you consent. No, that's not what you do. Don't believe in that line, guys. Seriously, never fucking ever assume that, please. I trace my fingers down her cheek, wrapping around under her jaw to lift it toward me. It's time to lean in. Here it goes. Upon closer inspection, I'm struck once again by the inhuman, well, not that she is human technically, beauty of her face. Was that really needed? Honestly, this might be... No. Because this is a play, my heart is pounding. Oh, come on. That was going so good. Risa claps. Mary and I stop our act and pull apart.
ごめんね。ちょっとストップ。 このシーン全体的にたっぷり見せた方がいいと思う。
You're saying I should take it slower?
ええ、ちょっとあっさりしすぎかなって思う。
I thought that was alright.
せっかくのクライマックスなんだから、見ている方がのめり込むための間を意識して。
Got it.
あと、ここはもう少し体をひねって、客席から口元を隠すような感じがいいと思う。その方が本当にキスしてるのかもっていうドキドキ感を煽るでしょ。
Or whenever the big day comes, we just, they just do it,
フェ
right?
アリーさんも合わせてね。もう少しこう、棒立ちじゃなくて色っぽい絡み感が欲しいかな。
She did sound a little stiff, but I don't know. That was probably just me.
どうしたら
I mean, it's a bit of a like sad emotional scene. It's really hard to get like a whole lot of, too much out of it, especially when the person who's kind of struggling here seems to be Ritsu's character.
そうね。リツくんの背中と腰に腕を回して、指先にギュッと力を入れてしがみつくような感じとか。
わかりました。やってみます。
じゃあもう一度。
Alright, right back to it, I guess. I turned back to face Mary. This time, twisting around slightly dyed our faces from the audience as instructed. Mary wraps her arms around my back. She then clenches her fingers, also as instructed. Only there's no emotion, no pain. Not in her expression, not in her actions. She looks disinterested, her actions more robot than human.
ダメダメ。それじゃダメだよ、メアリーさん。
Risa stops us again.
何がダメなんですか？
Mary pulls away from me and looks over to Risa in puzzlement.
私としては言われた通りにやったつもりですけど。
やっぱりなんだか気がないように見えるのよね。二人は見ていてどう？
Risa turns to Akari and Sayo for their opinions.
そうですね。
情感が足りないわね。情感？
Mary's face scrunches up as she gets further confused.
リツくんもやっていて感じるでしょ？
どういうこと？
Mary looks around at everyone in turn before finally laying eyes on me. It's like you're not empathizing with how your character is meant to feel. I hadn't noticed it was this bad when we were just reading our lines together. Well, to be honest, back when I was too focused on getting her over... hold on, what the fuck? Well, to be honest, back then I was too focused on getting her over her embarrassment. There we go. That's what I was supposed to read. I said back when, not back then. So she could actually make it through her lines in one go. I got this, guys. I got this. But now it's painfully obvious that just being able to say your lines is not enough.
役としての気持ち？
Looks like it still hasn't clicked for Mary.
その思いを寄せ合った相手とやむを得ず別れる人の思い詰めたような雰囲気がないということだと思います。
盛り上がりの空気感に欠けるのよ。自分で書いたんだから、それくらいわかりそうなものだけどね。
Sayo starts pouting, irritated.
まだお芝居をすることに慣れていないんだと思いますよ。
But hey, that's what all this practice is for, right? Akari forces a smile as she tries to smooth things over.
ごめんなさい。
Mary's shoulders drop and she hangs her head.
そういうのよ。今のごめんなさいは自然に感情が乗っていたでしょ。方向性は違うけど、同じように演技でもできないもの。
Mary's eyes open wide like she had just taken a punch to the gut.
そう言われてもよくわかんない。
This is all very new to her, as we can all tell. But, I mean, Sayo has the right idea. Take the emotion that you get in your real life and kind of apply that to acting.
だって
But to do so, you kind of have to understand why you're feeling the way you do, and how that changes who you are.
困ったな。
Risa sighs pensively.
正直なところ、 この調子で立ち稽古を続けてもあまり芳しくなさそうかな。もう少し役の掘り下げをしてちゃんとキャラクターの芯をつかんだ方がいいと思う。多分これはお芝居というアウトプット以前の問題な気がする。
I mean, again, this is what this practice is for. We're going to get it down. Mary's definitely going to get it down eventually. We end up cutting rehearsals short so that Mary and I can focus on developing our roles. Mary breathes a deep sigh, feebly holding her rolled-up script.
自分で作ったものを自分でつかめないなんて間の抜けた話だよね。
Well, don't blame yourself. I mean, it's because you're not really the most human person here, and you're supposed to be acting like a regular human. So it's different. My opinion aligns with the others. Mary is bad at making her acting seem realistic. That's the short version. To go more in depth, I believe it stems from the difficulty Mary's having in making the part her own. She can't put herself in the character's shoes and make herself believe she is that person, which is how acting is meant to work. Acting's pretty tough, huh?
ほんと
Her eyes fall to the script as she flips the page.
人事だと思えばこそ好き放題にかけたようなものだから、これを自分のことだと考えるっていうのは
It still doesn't feel real.
だって私実際にこんな経験したことないもん。本とか映画とかのお話はすごく好きだけど。
I think I have an idea as to the root of this problem. Mary,
何？
you like romance stuff, yeah?
大好きだよ。
Mary answers without hesitation.
ワクワクするしドキドキする。悲しいお話もあるし、そういうのはかわいそうだなって思うけど、やっぱり面白いことに変わりはないよ。
Does watching that stuff ever make you feel like you'd want to experience it yourself?
思わないよ。
Mary smiles and flaps her hand like nothing could be more obvious.
だって私にできるわけないもん。
I see. So that's why. It seems that as far as Mary's concerned, love isn't something that runs adjacent to her life. Considering the path that she's been walking, I can't say I don't understand. Then have you ever fallen in love with someone? This question causes Mary to ponder for a moment, her eyes wandering.
もしかしたらすごく昔にあったのかもしれないけど、今はもう覚えてない。
So you've not even been like, oh, this person's cool.
もちろんたくさんあるよ。好きなものはたくさんあるし、好きな人もたくさんいる。でもそれっていわゆる恋とは違うんじゃないかな。きっとお話の中で見るような恋ってもっと自分の欲望と密接につながっている気がするんだよね。何かを犠牲にしたり捨てることを選んだりしてでもその人に執着するみたいな。
That's fair. I nod.
そういう強い気持ちがないんだよ。英語で言うとアフェクションはあってもラブはないの。多分。
Okay. It's hard to act out, you know, a certain emotion, especially if you've never really experienced it yourself, I guess you could also say. So, being able to love somebody. You know, if you've been in a relationship with somebody, you kind of get that strong feeling of affection and caring and all of that. All of that shit mixed together is love. It's love for somebody. And there's also different variations of love. It doesn't have to be a romantic love. It could be a family-based one, a friendship love. It could be all sorts of stuff. It's different levels and all that of caring and enjoying somebody's presence and shit like that. So, because of her long, lonely life, she probably never got the opportunity to truly love somebody other than, like, her parents or her family that she lost all those years ago. And maybe her master in some weird way. Maybe that's because you're a vampire?
私はみんなとは違う世界の住人で。
She's in a bigger disconnect than anybody else here, to be completely honest.
誰かと付き合いたいと思ったことも、実際に付き合ったことも。
Loneliness begins to tinge Mary's voice. Because you've decided not to focus that much emotion into anyone? There are people who refuse to get pets because their lives are too short, and they can't bear the pain of saying goodbye. I wonder if that's similar to how Mary feels as a vampire. that she can't fall in love with someone who isn't destined to walk the same eternal night. Mary cocks her head, brow creasing uneasily. I mean, that actually is like a really rough situation. She outlives all people that she's, been hanging out with here. Even us, Ritsu. She can completely outlive him. That's kind of the problem. So, and I think that's actually going to be something that gets brought up here. I'm sure in this route, the two of them will get together. I mean, that's usually a given when it comes to a visual novel route with a character. There's probably going to be some romance, right? Especially when it's, a game like this. So I think that's going to be, I definitely believe that's going to get brought up, is that she will outlive him. They're just way too different of people, and it creates that complication.
自分にそういうことをする才能や資格があるって発想そのものがなかったっていうか。
You think it's about ability? I never expected her to say this. This world is filled with love. It should be an emotion everyone's familiar with. But Mary, a vampire, isn't. Not that I'm in much of a position to talk, mind you.
リツ君は例えば自分が100メートルの9秒台で走ってオリンピックに出られるって思う？
No way, that's not happening.
だよね。私にとっての恋愛もそういうものだよ。なんていうのかな。プロのスポーツ選手の試合を観客席から見てるような感じ。見た目は一緒でも、あれは自分と違うものだからできることなんだっていう。
I kind of get it now. There's never been anyone for Mary to fall in love with. So she's never had the opportunity to try to, or even want to. This all comes down to the fact that vampires are different to humans.
シラートのお芝居くらいなら、外側をちょっと真似すればいけるのかなって思ったけど、甘かったね。やっぱり、知識だけの頭でっかちじゃダメなんだね。
All I'm gonna say, guys, if I met a hot anime vampire bitch of some sort, and I fell for her, I'm gonna want her to fall for me, Fuck the complications, fuck the fact that she can kill me, fuck the fact that she's gonna outlive me. I can flip my sleep schedule for her. We'll be awake during the night and asleep during the day. Whatever, right? But I'd make that a fucking goal. With a grandiose sigh, Mary hangs her head. Would you guys not? If a hot anime babe that just so happens to be a vampire came up to you and you fell hard for her, would you not want her to fall for you? There's no need to get so down over this. Nobody's expecting us to win an Oscar.
でも、少なくとも今のままじゃダメなんだよね。
Yeah, you still want to be okay. If you think you can improve, then you should try to do so. Risa, Sayo, Akari, and I are all of the same opinion. We'll figure out a way to support Mary somehow.
でも、どうすればいいのかな。
Just keep practicing.
ひたすら演技の練習するしかない？
I'm not sure. This is an emotional problem, so I'm not sure rehearsing will get you anywhere. I mean, I'm no expert on things, but my experience with love is no different than Mary's. I do have one slight advantage, though.
でもリツくんの演技は私よりずっとちゃんとしてたと思うよ。
All of my encounters have probably helped some.
ああ、そっか。そうだよね。
She just needs some sort of real-world experience, which is, again, I'm sure how the two of them are going to get together. Mary gives a comprehending nod.
あのさ、リツくん相手だからちょっと身も蓋もないことを聞いちゃうけど。
Uh-oh. Sure, go for it.
することで何か新たに感じるものってあるの？相手が前後で違って見えるとか。
That always scares the shit out of me because I think the top of my screen just glitched the fuck out because of all the colors up here. Yeah, there's quite a lot of things. The question was more direct than I expected, but I decided to answer it. When you have someone pressed up against you, it feels like there's this switch inside you that's being flipped. That's not all there is to it, of course.
そっか。そうなのか。
Anxiety spreads over Mary's face.
そうなると経験で補えない私ってやっぱり不利だ。他人と粘膜接触とか絶対無理だもん。感染させちゃう。
Wait, what? Well, that was a curveball. My phone's ringing now. I don't need to get a bad feeling to know what's coming up at this point.
電話鳴ってるよ。 出ないの？
I mean, even I have a feeling of who it is. I'm sure you guys all have a feeling of who it is. Honestly, I'd rather not. This is definitely the devil. There is, in fact, something I want to ask, but the fact that it knows that makes me sick to my stomach. Too many that's in that sentence. Hello. I answer with a sigh.
あんまりですよ、ご主人様。
Isn't that what you like? I'm greeted by the usual overly dramatic voice, just as I predicted. What do you want?
それはもちろん劇のことですよ。台本ができて練習まで始めたっていうのに。
You're only doing special effects, and we're nowhere near ready for those.
いけませんね、そういう勝手なご判断は。
No, we're not jumping to conclusions. We've reached the conclusions properly.
演出が出来上がったものの表面を最後にちょろっと飾り立てるだけの単純な作業だと思わないでいただきたい。きっちりコンセプトの段階から状況に合わせてプランを練り、完成イメージを作り上げていくという繊細にしてクリエイティブな。
Yeah, okay, you're right. Now your job includes the planning, so go do it yourself. It's eavesdropping on all of its... God damn it. It's eavesdropping on all of our conversations anyway, so it's not like there's any point in discussing it.
かしこまりました。
Good. That's really the least of our concerns right now. I glance over to Mary to see her just kind of blankly looking my way.
さようでございましたね。演技力の根本で
I mean,
お
we're
悩みのよ
not.
うで。
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that.
なんなりと嬉しいですね。ご主人様の方から僕に借りを作ろうとしてくれるなんて。
I'm not obliged to you for this or anything. If you want to cry about it, save it for after I hang up. If anything, you're the one who owes me for possessing my phone.
結構結構。
She possesses everybody's phones.
聞きたいことというのは、どんな大根役者でも一瞬で名優に変身させる飛躍でもご所望ですか？
Don't act like that's a real thing.
おや、見抜かれてしまいましたか。
Enough of this. I wanted to ask.
果たして自分は粘膜接触で吸血鬼に感染しうるのだろうか。
Low key, I did not even think that the two of these characters fucking would actually get him in the point of maybe becoming a vampire. See, it was eavesdropping. I am, so.
ご心配はもっともですが、ご主人様、あなたは悪の救世主たるご自分の力を舐めすぎです。
I kind of forget about that at times.
厳密な正当な手続きによる吸血行為でもない限り、あなたが吸血鬼の支配を受けるなんてことはありませんよ。
Okay, cool. That's all I wanted to know.
ですがご主人様、僕としては。
And we're hanging up. So, whatever warning was going on there, we're not getting that. With no qualms, I cut the call mid-comment and head straight back to Mary.
今の電話、もしかしなくてもまた例の悪魔さん？
Don't ask that. Don't know, don't care, it was though.
何もお話しして何が分かったの？
I'll get straight to the point. It looks like I've passed the first test to be someone you can be romantically interested in. Man, that was embarrassing to say. Mary stares fixedly at me, her eyes widening into perfect circles.
それって。
Yeah, apparently it's not so easy to turn me into a vampire. So...
私と粘膜接触が可能？
Why do you keep saying it like that? I'd be fine with it. I'd be fine if I did, yeah.
すごい！リツくん、さすがは闇の王子！
Okay, don't call us that. Yeah, please stop calling me that. I'd really prefer that not to become my new nickname.
やっぱりダメ。かっこいいのに。
Anyway, this has given me an idea. I look down at the script once again, excuse me.
何？
You could pretend to be my girlfriend for a while to help you study for the role. What do you say? Mary looks at me blankly.
それってつまり私と粘
Why
膜
do
接
you
触
keep
しよう
saying
って
it
こと？
like that? Please stop calling it that. I think that phrasing had best remain unused in the future.
でも要するにそういうことなんじゃないの？
Well, if things got to the stage where both of us wanted that, then we could consider it, yeah. It won't be anything real for now. But what do you say to trying out being in a relationship? I'm sure you've read enough of the romance genre to know relationships aren't all about sex. I mean, that's actually kind of how I wanted them to start off. I don't want them to just, jump into bed together and hope that closes the gap or anything. No, I'd like there to be some gradual steps. Basically, the proper way to go about things. Mary seems to be slowly going over my words, deciphering their meaning inside her head. Based on her expression, I'd say it still hasn't clicked for her yet. Nevertheless, a short while later...
わかった。いいよ。せっかくだから、やるだけやってみよう。
Well, even so it's not a real relationship, they're kind of in a relationship now, as I predicted.
クリスマスの劇、なんとしても成功させたいもんね。
Mary smiles and nods, stretching a hand out toward me as she clutches the script to her chest with the other hand.
それじゃあ、改めてよろしくね、リツくん。
Yeah, here's to hoping, Mary. Good grief. I smile inwardly as I take Mary's hand. Remember, it's not embarrassing because it's actually it's a fake relationship. Ooh, it's not real. To think how embarrassed she was when she first read from the script. But she hasn't shown a hint of shyness here. When I suggested we pretend to date, nor did she when I leant in for the kiss scene. Usually that would mean that there's no hope. It certainly means that, as things are now, Mary doesn't think of me that way in the slightest. Realizing that is causing a bitter feeling of loneliness in my chest. There's one simple reason for that. I've started to fall for her. And so have I, man. So have I. Ever since we met her, honestly. I really think she's the best character of the group. My opinion may change as we go through the other routes, but I do think that she holds the #1 spot. We'll see how all that goes, obviously, but we will wrap things up on that note. That was the 13th video, really? Or the 13th episode? Jesus. Okay, so we are now on the 4th part of the 14-part route, so we have a long way to go. But yeehaw, gamers. There's exciting times to come now that the two of them are in a pretend relationship or whatever it is you want to call it, which is totally cool. But yeah, we'll call it here. Again, this game should be available on Steam in the near future. Keep your eyes peeled, and that should help in case you are wanting to pick up the game. Because again, I won't be able to show you guys the final 2 hours of any of the routes. So just letting you guys know about all that. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning on in. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.